By now, you've all heard of Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0, the latest book published by Mama Jumbo Shrimp. It's more than just another wine book. The fully updated second edition was inspired by students of the Viticulture International Academy and painstakingly reviewed and revised by an expert panel of certified Italian wine ambassadors from across the globe. The book also includes an edition by Professore Attilio Scienza, Italy's leading vine geneticist. The benchmark producers feature is a particularly important aspect of this revised edition. The selection makes it easier for our readers to get their hands on a bottle of wine that truly represents a particular grape or region. To pick up a copy, just head to Amazon.com or visit us at MamaJumboShrimp.com.
Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. I'm Cynthia Chaplin, and this is Voices. Every Wednesday, I will be sharing conversations with international wine industry professionals, discussing issues in diversity, equity, and inclusion through their personal experiences working in the field of wine. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate our show wherever you get your pods.
Hello and welcome to Voices. This is Cynthia Chaplin, and today I have Marco Nordio with me, who is one of our Viticulture International Academy students when we held our Via Verona flagship Italian Wine Ambassador certification course here in Verona the week before the Viticulture Wine and Spirits exhibition. Marco's joining us from New Zealand, so thank you so much, Marco, for making the time to come on the show today.
Hi, Cynthia. Very nice to talk to you.
And you. I just want to let our listeners understand a bit about our VIA students. What on earth made you decide to come all the way to Verona, a 27-hour journey from hell, to take the VIA International Academy Italian Wine Ambassador course?
Yes, definitely. You're right. It was a very long trip, and it's been a very long trip to come back as well. But I can tell you it was very much worthwhile. And the reason is I found a lovely community there. I think this is the best thing about this course, apart from educational side, obviously very useful. But this kind of connections that you create with people from all around the world and such of enthusiasm, the passion that is so contagious. I really loved it. And you asked me the reason why I wanted to join. Well, first of all, I'm an importer of Italian wine, so it would be natural for me to, I'm naturally an ambassador of Italian wines. I've got a lot of important brands here to represent in New Zealand. But having taking the course, it adds to the credibility of what I'm doing, and it would really benefit. But apart from the business side, there's also the personal passion for Italian wine that has been going on for all my life, really, Cynthia.
Well, and of course, you have Italian background, so you are a native Italian. What are you doing in New Zealand?
Yes, many people ask me this question, and because they say, Italy is so beautiful, why are you here? Well, you know what? I came here in the year 2000, so it's a long time ago. And I came here by a long trip because I took a sailing boat, me and my wife, and we sailed all the way from Italy to New Zealand because we wanted a change of lifestyle,
Oh my gosh, how long did that take?
It took us 3 years, so we went slowly, went through the Caribbean, the Atlantic crossing, and then Panama Canal, and then we crossed the Pacific, and then we literally landed in New Zealand with our boat. And then what we did, we sold our yacht and we bought some land near Auckland. And then we started a new life because New Zealand is a country where you can start afresh. You can start a new life. It's a country where you reinvent yourself.
That's such an amazing story. It's like one of the, Italian explorers from the Middle Ages, like Marco Polo heading off. So you have the right name, actually. So a 3-year trip across going, I guess, counterclockwise from east to west. That's a very long way. I'm not even sure how many nautical miles that would have been, but many, many, many. And you ended up in New Zealand, and now you're importing Italian wine. So how did that happen?
Yeah, basically it happened because I came here and then I studied wine at the Auckland University. So I did a course in wine science, and that was very useful. And then I planted a little bit of a vineyard. So I tried to learn how to make wine. It was just like a hobby at the time. And then I took over an existing company, an existing importing company. So, and then things snowballed from there because I've witnessed, the continuous growth of Italian wines. And this is true probably worldwide. So New Zealand represents very well what happened in other countries. So Italian wines is really, really, going back to the position it should be. It was kind of underrepresented overseas for many reasons. It was underrepresented. And now it's going back to the kind of position that it should have. And in New Zealand, we're probably not there yet, but I think we are very, very close. And I can see more varieties, more wines, more Italian wines in New Zealand. And it's been a very, very exciting story so far.
Well, I can't imagine getting any farther from Italy. I think if you went across the globe, New Zealand is about as far as you could possibly get. So what's the Italian wine market like in New Zealand these days?
Well, it is very interesting because, New Zealand is a wine-producing country. So obviously people here are used to drinking wine. So you don't need to explain the pleasure of wine. They know about that. The only thing in New Zealand is very limited in terms of varieties. They have their Pinot Noir is a world-class Pinot Noir. The Sauvignon Blanc, obviously, is very, very good. But apart from that, you will struggle to go beyond these two varieties. And obviously what Italy has to offer is, as we all know, is a huge wealth of native varieties. And what I saw in the last few years is that people are embracing kind of new varieties, more obscure varieties. Actually, they're curious. And so it's becoming very interesting. There is a growing demand for Italian wine. So obviously the Italian restaurants are helping because Italian food is considered the best in the world. Many people think about. I certainly think that. I agree.
I completely agree with that.
And obviously that helps having hospitality industry that's helping New Zealand Italian wines. But it's not only that because apart from food, there is more. There is people are really curious to know the story, to know what is behind the Italian culture. That is very, very interesting.
That's so true. I think a lot of our marketing, which is kind of a harsh word for actually telling a very good story, revolves around that in Italy. We do have these amazing, family stories, ancient history, people traveling across Italy. When you were here studying, of course, Professore Scienza was talking about people migrating across Italy over the ages and bringing grapevines from here to there. It is the story of Italy in wine is endless and very profound and very moving in many cases. So I think telling those stories is becoming increasingly important as we try to spread Italian wine around the world.
Are you enjoying this podcast? Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, Mama Jumbo Shrimp, for fascinating videos covering Stevie Kim and her travels across Italy and beyond, meeting winemakers, eating local foods, and taking in the scenery. Now, back to the show.
Absolutely, Cynthia. And, one of the most interesting part of the course was really listening to Professor Scienza about these heroes, these heroes in wines, these travelers, these people that went on a mission, and the wine was integral, was a very important part of their story. That's so inspiring. And in modern times, you can find parallels, you can find similar stories. And this is the correct way, I think, to people to introduce Italian wine, to to introduce the stories, the heroic stories. I don't know, like Berlucchi. We know the stories of Berlucchi, of the Super Tuscan, how from scratch they introduce something new out of an existing territory. They create a value in the territory. They leverage the story of a territory, creating something new out of a tradition. This is very, very inspiring.
I completely agree. And I think that's why we chose to incorporate all of that new material and new research from Professor Scienza into the new Italian Wine Unplugged 2.0 book that we used as the textbook for the course, just to give people that really profound, technical, historic background that's so important to understanding Italian wine.
Yes, and I can't agree more with Stevie Kim when she said we need two translators when Professor Scienza speaks, because I could understand him in Italian, but I can relate to the difficulties of translating from from Italian English and to the audience, because it was not easy. But I think I was privileged to learn to hear the subtleties of Professor Scienza. It was a little bit hard to translate in English.
He often goes rogue as well. Since I'm one of his translators, he often goes rogue and heads off onto a whole nother conversation that we didn't expect him to have, which is one of the beauties of him and one of the challenges of him. But so you came to Verona to take the VIA course, and I'm assuming that you studied all the online material beforehand. And you were here for 4 days of tasting and masterclass in the exam, and you succeeded, and you became a VIA Italian wine ambassador. So congratulations, first of all. And thank you for the kind words about the community, because we work very hard to create what I think is a very special community for all of our VIA students, over 1,200 of them now who've taken the course. Now we're up to 340 ambassadors who've been certified, but everyone who takes the course becomes part of that community. And you had to do a video project with your fellow students. How did that go? Did that help build that sort of network and sense of being a wine family?
It did, Cynthia. And especially it was very useful because it was a kind of a homework to be done before coming to Verona. So before coming to Verona, I already had some connections with the people part of my group, and that was fantastic. Look, honestly, I'm Italian, as you know. I had to make this comment, but I'm kind of glad that the course is organized by non-Italians. But even if you are kind of elective Italians now, you and Stevie, but because Italians are not as good to organize stuff like you girls are. So I really congratulate you, because you created the right atmosphere, the right environment for putting people together. And this is something that Italians generally struggle with.
Thank you, Marco. That's really kind. This was a special one for us. It was our 25th edition of the course. And it meant a lot to us to have a big group. We had 64 students from 25 countries, and 33 new ambassadors were certified, which is our highest ever pass rate. And they came from 20 countries. So for us, it's so meaningful to go to the effort to organize it. It's not easy, as you can imagine, but to get people here from all over the world to study together, to have the master classes. This year we had 8 master classes with our supporters, various consortiums. What did you think about those as an importer and as a student? Were those helpful to you?
Absolutely. They were very, very helpful. I remember Tabarrini for the Montefalco consortium, very creative, very personal, and the touch and the wines, and professional. He wouldn't speak about his own wines, despite he's a producer, obviously. But I appreciate very much, because it was a little bit on the casual side, but very professional and very instructive, very educational. All the other masterclass were fantastic. Look, I think the course, I know most of the students had the WSET diploma, but everyone made the comment that there is nowhere that depth and the details of on Italian wines you can get in any other course worldwide. So I think VIA is probably already is a benchmark for Italian wine education.
Well, we like to think so. Our goal is to become and remain the gold standard of Italian wine education. We're here in Verona. It's meaningful to us. We all live very near, if not in, vineyards. And as you said, Stevie and I and many of our team are not Italians, but if you cut us open, I think we probably bleed red, white, and green. It's important to us and really our passion. So I'm glad that you felt that. Over the week, you tasted 151 wines. I don't know if you knew that, but you did. Did you feel that you had an appropriate amount of opportunity to taste the top sort of benchmark wines to get a really good understanding? You're Italian, so of course you know more about the specifics, the textures, the things that make Italian wines unique. But do you feel that we needed to do more or less? Did you have enough time? How was the course for you in terms of the tasting sessions with our faculty and with our master classes?
Sarah Heller was really, really outstanding. I think she was able to create an image on the wines. Just listening to her, we were able to have on our mind, I think on my mind in particular, I have already an idea of how to depict, of how graphic as well, to have an idea of a wine. She was very, very good. I think it's been very inspirational as well. I think she's really a top educator and tasting for Italian wine, especially stressing the texture side of Italian wines.
And you're referring to Sarah Heller, who's a master of wine, and as you said, also a graphic artist with her very beautiful visual interpretations of wine. She is such a special person with a really unique perspective. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. We all love having Sarah with us. She's an amazing teacher.
She is. And look, also the small things, the definition, the way she described a wine, I'm already using with, whenever I introduce Italian wines in particular, I'm already stressing this side of the texture, and people are really kind of opening up and say, oh, that's true. This is very, very useful whenever you describe Italian wines.
Oh, I'm so glad that you've taken that away with you. You're going to be a perfect Italian wine ambassador for us in New Zealand. What have you got coming up in the future? Are you still growing grapes? What kind of grapes are you growing?
Well, I quickly realized that it is easier to import Italian wines than producing Italian, because I had Italian grapes planted here in New Zealand than making Italian. And so I have a lot of respect now for producer, because I know how difficult it is to make good wines.
Exactly. What grapes were you planting when you had them?
I had a Pinot Grigio and Nebbiolo.
Wow.
So Pinot Grigio was able to sell the grapes eventually to other wineries here in New Zealand. Nebbiolo, I made wines myself with the help of a winemaker. And but it's nowhere near Nebbiolo from Piemonte.
Well, I think you picked one of the more difficult grapes to work with. So you cut out a hard row for yourself there.
I did.
So you're not making wine now, and you are still importing. What do you see yourself doing with your new title, Italian Wine Ambassador, in the next couple of years? What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, look, I want to really every New Zealander to enjoy the varieties available from Italy. There's a lot of communication, a lot of promotion to be made to Italian wine. I think Italian wines, the only thing they're missing, because the quality is absolutely there, is a promotional side. We need to come across.
That's so true.
Yes, we need to let people know that there is something outstanding here. The moment you offer a taste, it's like they open their eyes. Oh my God, I never tasted something like that, But the difficult thing is to get to the point of physically tasting the wine. So this is my challenge.
That is incredible. And I think you have just defined your role as an Italian wine ambassador perfectly. Bring the wines to the people, get them to taste it, and tell them the story. And I know you're going to be excellent at doing that for us, Marco. So thank you so much for being one of our students. And once again, congratulations on winning the title and being certified. And I know that you'll be a great member going forward of our VIA community, mentoring others and networking and welcoming others who come in. So thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you very much, Cynthia. It's been a privilege, and I look forward to see you somewhere soon in some of the other adventures of the community.
Okay, take care, Marco. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for listening, and remember to tune in next Wednesday when I'll be chatting with another fascinating guest. Italian Wine Podcast is among the leading wine podcasts in the world and the only one with a daily show. Tune in every day and discover all our different shows. You can find us at ItalianWinePodcast.com, SoundCloud, Spotify, Himalaya, or wherever you get your pods.